Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down the real reason Russia and Iran worry about Israel's F-35s, and why this single aircraft has quietly reshaped the military balance in the Middle East and beyond. At first glance, the concern seems obvious. The F-35 is one of the most advanced fighter jets ever built, combining stealth, sensors, and networked warfare into a single platform. But for Russia and Iran, the anxiety goes much deeper than just another modern warplane. Israel's version of the F-35, known as the F-35I Adir, is not a standard model. It has been heavily customized with Israeli avionics, electronic warfare systems, and software modifications. This makes it uniquely suited for Israel's strategic environment and threats. Unlike many countries that rely fully on American support for upgrades and maintenance, Israel has a rare level of autonomy over its F-35 fleet. That independence is one of the first red flags for Moscow and Tehran. Stealth is the most talked about feature, but it is not invisibility. Instead, it is about delaying detection and confusing enemy radar long enough to strike first. Against countries like Iran and Russia, that delay can be decisive. Iran's air defense network is built on a mix of aging Soviet-era systems, indigenous upgrades, and a limited number of advanced platforms like the Russian S-300. On paper, this looks formidable. In practice, the F-35 is designed to exploit exactly these kinds of layered defenses. Israel has already demonstrated this capability in real combat. The Israeli Air Force was the first in the world to use the F-35 operationally, striking targets in the Middle East while remaining largely undetected. For Iran, this is alarming because its most critical military and nuclear facilities are heavily defended and deeply buried. These sites rely on early warning, radar coverage, and interception to survive a potential attack. The F-35 threatens all three of those layers at once. Its sensors can map air defenses, its electronic warfare systems can disrupt them, and its precision weapons can hit key nodes before defenders even know what is happening. Russia's concern is different but equally serious. Moscow prides itself on its air defense technology and export systems like the S-300 and S-400 as symbols of military prestige and deterrence. When Israeli F-35s reportedly operate near or within areas covered by Russian-made systems, it raises uncomfortable questions about how effective those systems really are. If the F-35 can penetrate or neutralize advanced Russian air defenses, it undermines Russia's global arms market and its reputation as a military superpower. This is not just theoretical. Israel operates in airspace where Russian radar and assets are present, particularly in and around Syria. Every Israeli mission becomes an unspoken test of Russian detection and tracking capabilities. Even when Russia avoids direct confrontation, it is still watching closely, collecting data, and learning. But Israel is learning too, often faster and with real-world feedback. Another key reason for concern is information dominance. The F-35 is not just a fighter jet, it is a flying intelligence hub. It collects vast amounts of data from its sensors and shares it securely with other aircraft, ground units, and command centers. This creates a real-time picture of the battlefield that older platforms simply cannot match. For Iran, which relies on compartmentalized and less integrated systems, this networked approach is a nightmare. It means Israel can see, decide, and strike faster than Iranian forces can react. Russia, despite having more advanced systems, still struggles with integration across different branches and platforms. The F-35's ability to fuse data highlights these weaknesses. Then there is the issue of unpredictability. Israel does not publicly confirm or deny most of its operations. This strategic ambiguity keeps adversaries guessing. When you combine that ambiguity with a stealth platform capable of long-range precision strikes, the psychological impact is immense. Iranian planners must assume that at any moment, Israeli F-35s could be overhead, mapping defenses or preparing for a strike, even if nothing appears on radar screens. This forces Iran to invest heavily in passive defenses, redundancies, and deception, all of which drain resources and complicate planning. Russia worries about precedent. If Israel can operate F-35s effectively against Russian-linked systems, what happens when NATO or other U.S. allies do the same in future conflicts? The lessons learned from Israeli operations could be applied elsewhere, reducing the deterrent value of Russian air defenses worldwide. Another overlooked factor is electronic warfare. Israel is renowned for its capabilities in this domain, and the F-35 serves as a powerful platform for deploying them. Electronic attacks can blind radars, disrupt communications, and create false targets. Against systems that rely heavily on radar tracking, this can be devastating. Iran's reliance on fixed radar sites makes it particularly vulnerable. Once those sites are identified, they can be neutralized quickly, opening corridors for follow-on strikes. Russia, while more mobile and sophisticated, still faces challenges when confronting a stealthy platform supported by advanced electronic warfare. There is also the strategic timing factor. Israel's F-35 fleet continues to grow, and each new aircraft adds to the cumulative pressure on adversaries. This is not about one massive strike but about constant presence, surveillance, and readiness. For Iran, this erodes the sense of strategic depth. Distance and secrecy no longer guarantee safety. For Russia, it complicates its role as a regional power broker, especially in places like Syria where Israeli and Russian interests intersect. Another reason for concern is training and experience. Israeli pilots are among the most experienced in the world when it comes to real combat missions. The F-35 amplifies that experience. Advanced training, frequent missions, and rapid feedback loops mean Israel is constantly refining its tactics. Iran lacks comparable pilot experience with advanced aircraft, and its air force is constrained by sanctions and aging platforms. Russia has experienced pilots, but many of them train primarily for conventional warfare scenarios rather than constant high-tempo precision operations. The F-35 also changes deterrence calculations. Traditional deterrence relies on the ability to detect an attack and respond. Stealth undermines that logic. If you cannot reliably detect an incoming strike, your ability to deter it is weakened. For Iran, this means its threats of retaliation lose credibility if its key assets can be destroyed before a response is organized. For Russia, it means its defensive umbrella may not be as reassuring to allies and clients as advertised. There is also the issue of escalation control. Israel's F-35s allow for highly precise, limited strikes that avoid full-scale war. This precision makes it easier to take action without triggering massive retaliation, which worries both Iran and Russia. Iran fears a slow, controlled campaign that degrades its capabilities over time without crossing a clear red line. Russia fears being sidelined or exposed as unable to prevent such operations in regions where it claims influence. Another layer is intelligence gathering. Every mission flown by an F-35 can collect valuable data on enemy systems. Radar frequencies, response times, and command procedures can all be analyzed and exploited later. This turns each flight into both an operation and a reconnaissance mission. For Iran, this means its defenses are constantly being studied and refined against. For Russia, it means sensitive technology could be compromised without a single shot being fired. Finally, there is the symbolic factor. Israel's F-35s represent a close and enduring military relationship with the United States. This signals to Iran that Israel has backing from the world's most powerful military. It signals to Russia that American technology is operating effectively in areas where Moscow seeks influence. That symbolism carries weight far beyond the aircraft themselves. In the end, the real reason Russia and Iran worry about Israel's F-35s is not just what the jet can do today. It is what it represents for the future of warfare, deterrence, and power projection. A stealthy, networked, combat-proven aircraft in the hands of a highly capable and independent operator changes the rules. For Iran, it threatens core national security assumptions. For Russia, it challenges technological prestige and strategic leverage. And as Israel continues to refine and expand its F-35 operations, those worries are only likely to grow.